So in the previous video, what we went through was light touch and deep pressure. In this video, we're going to address thermal sensation, which is basically the ability to sense hot or cold. What I'm going to do, because I modified this a bit, because I'm not actually freezing anything or making hot water in anything, what you would do if you were truly testing hot and cold in the clinic, you would have two separate cups. So you would have a cup for hot, and typically hot is 115 to 20 degrees, and you'd have a cup of cold, and the water temperature is typically 40. What you see here these are like little test tubes, metal test tubes, so that they are conductive. And so you would be able to test, or not test, you would be able to see just how hot that water temperature is. Typically the reason there's two is as you're testing, they're going to cool off or they're going to get warmer if it's cold. And so you want to be able to put it back in and kind of keep going. So that being said, you would have two separate cups like I shared. One would be hot, one would be cold. But in absence of actually having hot and cold, I'm going to show you how it would look. So you would actually have a hot and a cold tube in your hands, and you would, just like you did with light touch and deep pressure, you would test on the less affected side, you would test then on the affected side, and you would have a random hot-cold pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look to see how well you sense hot and cold. The reason this is so important from like what we would call a functional standpoint is when you're using the shower or the bath, you've got to be able to test water temperature to make sure you're not scalding or going to freeze. So if we aren't looking at that, you could randomly put your hand in the shower and end up with a horrible burn. So I just want to see that that's going okay for you. So I have two separate test tubes, one that's hot, one that's cold, and I'm just going to randomly do that again with your eyes closed, and just tell me if you feel hot or cold.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because yeah, guess what? I don't really have hot or cold, so she's just going to kind of make it up. But here you go. All right. Okay, so tell me if you feel hot or cold.
Cold. Hot. Hot. Cold. Hot. Cold. 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 Hot. Hot.
Okay, and so basically we're not even going to assess that because she had no idea what I was touching her with. But what you would do is you would do a random pattern. So the thing is, what I have learned in practice very quickly is not to necessarily alternate, because clients will actually start picking up on things. And so you want to periodically do a couple together in the sense of cold, cold, hot, hot. And again, you're going down the arm, but yeah, you're wanting to make sure that they're not sensing a pattern with it. And you would basically, just like the light touch and deep pressure, you would say intact, impaired if it was diminished, or absent. So this is a perfect example based on you got to see me with the test tubes. If this were truly happening, you could say impaired, you know, that kind of thing, because she was sensing the temperature, but sometimes incorrectly based on the fact I was going so random. But you're doing fabulous. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next one. So if you have any questions, please always contact me. Okay, right?